Apple's 2026 plans continue to leak like crazy, and the more we learn, the weirder things get. We're hearing that Apple is doubling down on their plans to make folding iPhones, touchscreen Macs, more budget-friendly offerings. Honestly, it seems like ever since Apple and Johnny Ive had their big breakup, things have gotten better. Let me sort of explain how this strategy is changing Apple, all the new stuff coming next year, and why things are getting really crazy weird, but also at the same time, really crazy good. And also, huge thanks to my friends at Incogni for sponsoring this video. All right, so after going through all the leaks, all the rumors, all the patent filings, and all the analyst reports, I think the most exciting stuff coming from Apple is gonna boil down to three main categories: budget, partnerships, and then more of the experimental stuff. Let's start first with budget though, because Apple and budget usually aren't associated in the same sort of area or even zip code, to use that analogy. I mean, I don't know if it's still true, at one point, Apple stores were making more money per square foot than Tiffany's, the high-end jewelry store chain. You've got Apple taxes, known around the world for being kind of the thing that comes when you're paying more for an Apple product just because it's made by Apple. Apple is known for making really expensive things. And while that definitely is still the case these days, look at the $1,000 iPhone Air, you also have Apple doing a better job than ever offering budget-friendlier options and also reinforcing the value of those options to be better than they've ever been before. For example, the budget-friendly iPad and the Apple Watch SE and even AirTag, these are just three examples of some really great budget-friendly options from Apple that actually deliver a remarkable amount of value and don't break the bank, at least relative to the other stuff that is in the Apple lineup. We're hearing this trend will continue, for example, with the iPhone 17e, the successor to the 16e, that should give you more of the higher-end iPhone premium features in the more budget-friendly option. We know that Apple is going to be working on AirTags version 2 for $30, getting an even better tracker that has really honestly been one of the most underrated Apple products that kind of has been really good and well loved for the last couple of years. We continue to hear that Apple might be working on a lower end version of AirPods, maybe a more budget friendly version of AirPods SE, and then also the Apple TV, love or hate the Apple TV box, and as expensive as it might be, we're hearing that Apple could bring that same experience in a stick form factor. There's also rumors that Apple's going to be bringing back the MacBook name in the addition to the lineup of a lower cost, more affordable offering that would give you the Apple Silicon experience and the full Mac experience, but like a $500-$600 price tag instead of $899, $999, wherever the MacBook Air lands right now. Again, it's Apple giving us more options at the low end than they ever have before, and not just that, they're better and more value-packed and feature-packed options at the low end than we've ever had before. A very un-Apple-like move that it will continue in 2026, and honestly be a really good thing for customers who want to get this new gear but don't want to drain their bank accounts to do so. The second area of these changes we will see very soon is in a new category of partnerships. And what I mean by this is Apple leaning into companies that have basically a better expertise in something than Apple does. Because believe it or not, one of the best things Apple has ever done, time and time again, is admitted when they were wrong. When they finally axed the touch bar and the butterfly keyboard, when they brought back ports to their devices and focused on things customers actually wanted, who would have thought about it? People actually liked it, and sales ultimately went up. I mean, the MacBook is the best example of that. Look at the Mac line when Apple went to Apple Silicon and they brought back ports and they focused on battery life and gave us a good keyboard, things just got better. And if Apple can kind of admit that some of their services, namely Apple Intelligence, is just a really bad product and revamped it, things could get significantly better. We're hearing right now that there are a couple of ways Apple could do this. They could try to buy their way out of this problem by acquiring a company like Perplexity and build in their all-new AI system, Or what we're hearing is that what Apple might do, and we've seen this a couple of times, is partner up with a leader in this space. We know they've got a ChatGPT OpenAI connection right now, but we're hearing that actually Google Gemini might be the new brains behind Apple Intelligence, and Apple would revamp Apple Intelligence and Siri once again with the brain power of Google Gemini and Google's AI systems to really make these features better. It's kind of ironic that you'd have Apple and Google, two bitter rivals, working together on one of the core Apple features, but I think at this point, the rollout has been such an embarrassment and it's been such a source of just humiliation for Apple that at this point they need to do anything they can to make things better. And a partnership in this form with Google kind of might actually make a lot of sense. Also, I should admit that as nice as it is to see all of these changes and new products leak out early from Apple and all of their secrets revealed, the same can't be said for our personal information. I mean, if you've done just a web search of yourself in the, last couple of days, last couple of weeks, you will be shocked to see not just how much of your personal information is just a couple of clicks away, but also all of the random websites that keep popping up with your personal info, name, address, email address, other sensitive info. It is just a messy, messy time to be anywhere near the internet. And unfortunately for you, there's nothing really you're doing wrong, but you just gotta team up with some pros to put a stop to the bad guys and the data brokers and those sites hosting your info, which is why I love the experts over at Incogni, because they're here to help you get your personal info removed from the web and make sure it stays off the web. The entire onboarding process here is super simple. You can complete it in just a couple of simple clicks, and then the whole system kind of gets to work on your behalf, submitting these removal requests. They're reaching out to the data brokers, the white pages, the other people's search engine websites, and getting your info removed. And what I also love here is not only is this totally automated, but also that you are able to actually submit manual requests as well. So if something pops up and you want it manually removed, you submit it to the team over there. They're the experts. They know the proper channels to go through to get that info removed professionally on your behalf. Honestly, I just love the peace of mind that Incogni provides. Not only is it just nice for like anti-nefarious reasons to have your personal info safe and secure, but also you can't have the spammers and the scammers and the bad actors trying to just, bombard you with spam texts and calls and junk mail if they can't get your info so easily, which is again why it's so wonderful to have Incogni removing that info on your behalf. I love Incogni. I love the peace of mind it affords me. I love not having my info so easily accessible online, and I know you guys are gonna love it as well. It is great to have experts on your side. So if you wanna learn more, get started today, head to the link down below, incogni.com/AppleCircle, and use the promo code AppleCircle to get 60% off an annual plan. Definitely, again, could not recommend this more enough. Wonderful peace of mind. Stop the spam, scams, and the bad actors today with Incogni. Link down below, and again, use that special code AppleCircle to save 60% off an annual plan. And category number 3, what might just be the most exciting thing of all for Apple in the next year, is going to be a bunch of new experimental products. We've started to see Apple finally try to do some new things. The iPhone Air for this year is one of the best examples of an experimental product that by and large seems to be pretty well received, and we're hearing that Apple is going to be doing more and more in this area in 2026. For example, iPhone Fold, better late than ever, is finally set to launch in 2026 at a folding iPhone with a crease-free display and a bunch of cameras, and maybe Touch ID making a return would be coming in the new year. That would be super cool to see. Like I mentioned, there is going to be some experimental things with Budget Max. We're hearing that Apple is working on ditching a lower cost Vision Pro and going forward with smart glasses, that they are going to enter into this space, hopefully sooner than later. And then another big experimental push into the home space, that we're hearing that Apple not only wants to boost the HomePod by adding a screen to it, but Apple sort of wants to be your smart home champion, that they want to not only make the device that controls everything with Apple Intelligence, but they want to get into the space of accessories like cameras and smart locks and thermostats and things like that. And basically they might be experimenting into jumping into the home ecosystem and making their own smart home accessories. And this has been reported by Bloomberg many, many times, and it seems like 2026 is the year this finally happens. And again, it's very kind of out of character for Apple, very not in their lane, but again, a little bit of experimental things and just something different honestly isn't a bad thing, and kind of keeps us on our toes and definitely keeps Apple interesting. All right, so what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about Apple being a little bit more out of the box in 2026? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Do you think Apple has gotten better since Johnny Ive left the company? Just drop a comment down below on your thoughts on all this. Appreciate you guys watching. Thank you as always. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you guys in the next one.